Welcome back to the 50-acre homestead. I'm Clay. The title to today's video is Does Snake Away Work or Snake Repellent? I've never used Snake Away, but I have used this snake repellent right here. And I'm going to tell you my experience with this Snake Away or snake repellent. And I'm going to tell you why I use some of this stuff. I hatched off some biddies and I had them in an oval brooder inside of my shop in my warehouse. And I kept them in there about 3 weeks, I guess. They were about size of a quail, I guess, maybe a little bit bigger. And I've got this little pen that's about a 4x3 or either 4x7 foot. And I said I could just put them inside that and put them inside my big chicken pen just until they get big enough to mix with the big chickens. And I bought that pen and I had a rooster in it outside this pen. And I've had him for a couple of weeks, and then something come up here at nighttime and drug that pen all over the yard trying to get to that chicken. And he finally got to him and killed him. But the rooster's wing got tied up in the pen and he couldn't get him. So I'm not sure if it was a dog or a coyote, but I figured I'd put them inside that pen right there behind me to keep that from happening, to keep the fox away or the coyotes or the dogs or raccoons. They like them too. So I put them inside that pen, and the first night everything was fine. The second or third morning, I come outside about 30 minutes before daylight, and I walked out here to the chicken pen. There was a big old rattlesnake piled up under the heat lamp. I had a heat lamp in there on them, and no biddies in sight. I thought he ate them all to start with. But when it got daylight, I saw they were down at the other end of the chicken pen. They was able to get through that wire on this pen. This right here is what they look like. This is the day I put them in this pen inside my big chicken pen. And this here is when I walked outside, that's what I saw in my chicken pen. Looks like he had about 13 or 14 rattles and a button. But this is the chicken wire right here that the snake crawled through. It's hardware cloth. And put on all the way around this chicken pen, this pen here, so the snake couldn't crawl in it. So I went out to the hardware store to get some hardware cloth to put around this little pen. And while I was out at the hardware store, I figured I'd get some mothballs. And I got a bag of mothballs, and then before I opened them up, I Googled, does mothballs keep snakes away? I always heard my whole life is that mothballs keep snakes away, but I don't know if they work or not. When I Googled it, it said it didn't work. They may work, they may not. But I decided to get some snake away or snake repellent, put the mothballs back, and I asked them at the local hardware store if this snake away stuff really worked. And they said they didn't have any feedback on it. They didn't know if it worked or not. I said, well, that's worth a shot. I'll buy it and see if it works. I was trying to do everything I could do to protect my chickens because that rattlesnake had got one of them. He ate one. And then when I got back home, I spent the rest of the day wrapping that pen with that hardware cloth, the 1/2 inch size holes or smaller. It was small. I wanted to make sure a snake couldn't get in there. So I made that little pen snake proof. And after I got that done, I got my bag of snake repellent out and I read the instructions. And the instruction says, lightly sprinkle a band of 6 to 8 inches wide next to and around the area you wish to protect. It is not necessary to completely cover the ground with this product. 1 pound will treat a band 8 inches wide by 50 inches in length. And it says to reapply after every 2 weeks. And if it rained real heavy, to reapply it. So I went around this chicken pen. I got about 2 or 3 feet away from the chicken pen. I didn't want the chickens to be able to eat any of it. And I made me an 8 or 10 inch wide band all the way around the chicken pen. And man, this stuff, you can smell it. I mean, it's strong. This stuff smells like fireballs to me. It smells like cinnamon. And that's all you can smell. And on the package here, it says that snakes smell their air around them, and this stuff gives out a scent that they can taste, and they don't like it, and it repels them. That's what this says. And when I mean, you can smell it. When I come outside my house, I can smell it. So the first night, nothing, I didn't see any snakes or anything. And I come out here the second night, it hadn't rained a drop. I come out here the second night and walked around the pen. It was right at dark. I could barely see, and I could see a snake crawling in the back of the chicken pen. It was a big old rat snake, 6.5 or 7 foot long. Part of his body was laying in this stuff. And I went and disposed of him. So my opinion on this snake repellent is that it don't keep snakes away. It didn't keep them away from me. That rat snake, it was 2 days old. He was laying on top of it when I saw him. He was trying to get into my little bitties. So in my opinion, the best thing you can do to protect your livestock, your baby chicks or your quail, your baby rabbits or baby ducks or any kind of babies, anything that a snake can eat, is to make your pen snake proof. That's the only way to keep snakes out, in my opinion, is to keep them snake proof. I know about a month ago, I come out here and there was a big rat snake in there, had an egg halfway in his mouth. He was eating one of my chicken eggs. I relocated him also. I wouldn't mind having rat snakes around to keep the fight down on the rats, but I relocated them. They won't be back around here. Well, I hope this video helps somebody protect their livestock from snakes. You just need to make it snake proof. Don't rely on this. I'm glad I didn't rely on it. If I hadn't have made my little pen snake proof, if I hadn't have went around it with that small wire and hadn't come out here and checked it right at dark, I was about ready to go inside and take a bath and all, but I said, let me go check around my chicken pen one more time. And sure enough, that snake was crawling in there and I was able to get him out. And I'm not sure how many snakes have tried to get in there since that, I made it snake proof. They can't get in it now. I've got it where it is snake proof. The holes are too small, but once they get big enough, I think they're probably big enough now. There may be 1 or 2 in there that's not big enough for snakes to eat. But I'm going to take that little pen out of there and just turn them all loose in the big pen. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you protect your chicks or your baby livestock from snakes. Do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate you watching. I'll catch y'all in the next video.